All right, y'all. Welcome to Lake Havasu and a small craft riparian. What I'm going to talk about today, hopefully we got a nice view, is the anchor. Now, talk about these bits as we get them in the water, but we're going to come ashore here around this corner, and I want to show you how I roll. So what I'm going to do is clip this off here. Take that free. Pay attention to the helm. And I'm in a shallow water drive here. Oh, good girl. So what I'm gonna do is just, I want to end up about right where I am. I got wind kind of from this direction. I got wakes coming from this way. So it's gonna be kind of a throw it in the water and see what overwhelms. That's where it's gonna shut it off. Walk forward. And the biggest thing is don't leave the crew, the helm if you don't have a chance. Don't panic, take your time. I like to set this up. Get my anchor out, splayed out. Before I think about getting in this water, I take some wraps off. See, I have this wrapped up here. And I clip it off because I'm a genius and this will all end up in the drink. And I want to be anchored up back there. So normally I would just wait, stick my toes in the water, do something else. But since you guys are here, we're just going to give it a toss behind. Gonna get enough rope off. One of the things you want to do is not just fling it willy-nilly. You want to kind of swing it and lead it off the rope with your hand, dragging a little bit, so that way it hits the water nice and perpendicular, nice and square, a nice splash down, and that way it's everything's set out right. Because if these are flopped in, it's just relying on the weight, and that's no good. So I'll give this little toss right into there. I noticed with this anchor, I was trying to keep it as light as possible for this boat and small, that if I toss in right next to the cattail axle roots, I'd be pretty good. So as I let this drift around, I want to come around and grab actually this chunk, and it should be, normally this lives on here. So that way as I toss, this is the one that should always be clipped off somewhere. And as I toss it, set my anchor. See, now where I'm at, the wind is actually kind of coming this way. It's eddying, it's not with the prevailing. So I don't want to get wrapped around these cattails. So I'm going to pull it up, get my anchor. When I get just close to the surface, I drop it in. There we go. Clear that actually pretty driftwood out of the way. And I pay out a little line. Now, this is rope. On a boat, it's not rope, it's line. But even more confusing than that is, if you want to get technical with this, is rode. Now that I'm paying out my rode, I don't have it clipped off. You notice I've unclipped it there. I got two hands on and I'm able to put my full concentration on this. The worst thing you want to do is lose your anchor overboard. So I'm pulling this out here, letting it swing around. Nah, I don't know what the rule of thumb is for how much rode you should have out. But if you're sitting on top of your anchor and your anchor line's coming straight down, you're relying strictly on the weight. And every time a wave comes, you're plucking that thing off the bottom and it's just gonna dance around. Personally, I like to lay out as much as I can in the flattest angle you could get. Like, I don't really know, unless you're gonna start dragging it over reefs, or it's gonna become a problem where a boat's gonna drive across it or something, or you're gonna be just swinging too wildly. But if there's a prevailing current or wind, you really can't have too much rode out. I'm only in about 5-6 feet of water here. Like, the cattails normally don't like more than 6 or 8 feet of water. They die. It's kind of on a little island here. So I lay this out. So if I have this clipped off here, let's just put it out nice and simple so you can all see. Then I pay it out to about where I'm happy. This is the first cool part of the video. Here's my second carabiner. This is the one that matters. Nope, there goes the tour boat. So I'm gonna show you the really cool knot. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever done Boy Scouts or not, but there's a magic knot. It's called the disappearing knot. And you tie it, kind of trick status. I'll let you guys start the boat. And if you're really good, you just tie this in your hands so nobody sees. And you go, ooh, look, there's a knot. I can make it disappear. Oh, knot. No knot. Where'd the knot go? Oh no, there's not a knot no more. Oh, well, no, I just tied a knot, and I'm gonna show you how I tied that. So what we're doing here is let me pull up on my road a little bit so I'm not just working my line, because actually I kind of wanna end up about right where I am. So I'll come forward on my line a foot or two, and I'm gonna grab this and flip it over the top and just form a loop. Real simple. Doesn't matter if you flip it over the top or if you flip it under the bottom. But what you want to do is you want to take the anchor side. So if you flip it like that, you want to take this side and push it through. If you flip it over the top, like I normally do, I just flip it over the top. Then when I flip it over the top, I could reach through, grab it, and then you just bring it up out the bottom. Either way, you just want to go opposite and you pull it. But the loop you want to pull, this is the magic to all this, is from the anchor side. If not, it'll just slip and do all kinds of weird things. But if you pull it from the anchor side and you clip your not rated for climbing carabiner onto here, and you see how it's already just kind of naturally just pulling up. I'll give it a little motivation, but it'll pull up and it'll cinch right up there. No, you don't want to tie a large craft off with this. But if you're using this sort of a setup, this is the knot you need to be using. If you're using a kayak and you got the running anchor down the side, that's not thinking on a trolley down the side, might as well just cover that right now. So one thing I could do is leave this here and say I want to change my angle a little bit. I can move it from here. I have a point underneath if I need. I'll even use these ones. I don't like it because it gets close to here. But another popular one is I'll bring it over to here, and you could play with that a lot. Don't think that you have to have it right off the bow. As long as the cleat will handle the load, you can have it off the side. And that's another thing about when you have a lot of road out. Say this is your anchor and this is your boat, and the wave goes up and down. If you're right on top, it's just nothing but a hard load. But when you're out here, it kind of swings. You get this nice swing motion. It's a real beautiful thing, and it's easier on the anchor. Anchor doesn't want to pull out. It's easier on your cleat where you have it tied off. It's easier on your line. Again, none of this tying off is for emergency. I have a lot of line on here. This lake's not even that deep, so if I had to, I'd tie off. But if I had an emergency in this boat, we're running for shore. I don't care if it's that shore. We're just heading for it. Especially if there's big waves. We're not trying to weather a storm in this. But right here, look at this. I could go yank on this and pull it out, but for the most part, we're tied in pretty good. So don't be afraid. To another thing I'll do is I'll run the line all the way to the stern, the ring back here. I might as well just show you guys this right now while we're chit-chatting. I'll run it around to this line and let it come off of there. And that one's actually pretty handy. And we'll show you why in a minute when we go into recovery. But I know you guys are just itching to see what's around the rest of this. So now that I have my live end of my cleat tied off, same thing, we're gonna rotate back with the wind and the waves. We'll spin around, ooh, hydrofoil. We're gonna spin back around here onto our cleat and take up our line. But here, most people do this with a piece of PVC. I did a little different here because I actually have carried this orange screw in here for a while. It'd be kind of a pain to take it loose. But what I have on the inside is a screw. It's a plastic screw. If I need to tie it off on line, I can just run all this line off or untie it from here, screw it into the sand. If I'm at the sandbar or somewhere where I'm gonna tie it up on shore or run a stern line out, I can run it out. This thing's light, it's easy to use. It gives me the option of hooking 2 clips off the carabiners off each end, so that's real handy. The orange screw is pretty awesome for that. And it's this one more thing in your bag of tricks that you have versus just the PVC. Oh, excuse me, let me turn that down. I monitor channel 16 emergency frequency, and apparently they're looking for towboat. But anyways, that's how I set this thing up. Now I want to show you how I recover it and move to a new spot, which actually makes it pretty handy. Sort of, we're caught on our oar lock or oar holder. I'm gonna let it pay out here. So what I'll normally do is bring this up in, and I'm ready to leave here. I'm gonna take up all my extra line, and it takes a little bit of running in and out to kind of get all the twists out, and it'll still have a little bit of twists. But I throw it right down in here. I make sure everything's ready to go. Shoes are tied up, ice chest covered, dog's life jacket up. Put my key on here. Get my motor in the start and ready position. Now, if I had to warm it up or do something like that, I'd warm it up here on the anchor and go from there. The old Tatsu here, fires first pull, second pull on video, and it's just the way it goes. And yeah, but I have plenty of room here. I'm not in a panic situation. If not, I'd fire it on the anchor. But at the same time, with me tied off the stern, the anchor and the line, it is a risk. But what I'm gonna do here is just pull it up. Head towards my line. And the only reason I'm not firing the motor up right now really is just because I'm talking to you guys and I want to try to keep it as quiet as possible. So I get on top of my line, I'm gonna clip my beaner, stow it away on the beaner spot, and you notice that I kind of glanced over that earlier, but I have a bowline tied off here to the end of my line. So that way if I pay all my line out off the spool here, it doesn't just go. If I have to throw it in the water because my motor dies, I don't know what's going on, there's waves everywhere, I can just throw it in the line, tend to other things. So I'm gonna clip it back loose here, start pulling my line in, pull my little magic knot. You see how quick that came out. And you just don't go ripping in your anchor, and you actually notice I've drug it about 5 feet playing with it this whole time. I didn't have the best set, but now we're in these weeds. Pull myself back up on top of the anchor, continue rolling up my line. And in this shallow water, I don't have a whole lot of extra line. I don't like loose sawing on the boat. What I'll do is, like I said, I have plenty of room, and I just keep watching the shore. I got no waves coming, no wind gusts. Now here, and walk it up. Now, one last thing I want to note, I'm not the biggest fan of it for this reason you're right about to see, but this is a popular trick, is zip tying it here. So if you're bound up good in the bottom, you could break the zip tie and it'll pull from here. I like that concept. The problem is it really gets hung up on the forky bits of this anchor. Now I'll tie the anchor up, get it ready like this, and leave it in my lap. And what I do is I turn around, motor's ready to go, I pull it. Oh, get it fired up. Now that it's fired up, head in the right direction, get underway essentially, then I stow my anchor. Then that way if I have an issue or whatnot, I could still tend to it and not let things get out of hand. You always want to be the captain, and when you're crewing alone like this, or when your first mate's only on dog alert, you need to worry about such things. So anyways, I'm glad you guys joined along. I like these videos, I like sharing things with you, and just showing you what it's about, doing these little boat things and having fun. So anyways, Adventure Brad out.